Welcome to the District 5730 Grant Qualification Online Training Seminar. Grant qualification is essential for your club to be a vibrant Rotary club. You know, grants can help you and your club make a difference. So what we're going to look at is how the foundation works, how to make contributions to the foundation, but most importantly, we're going to look at how to get grant funds. We want to make sure that your contributions to the foundation, your club's contributions, your members' contributions, are amplified and leveraged for even better to humanity. Because that's what Rotary is all about, humanitarian service. It is the leading humanitarian service organization in the world. And its foundation is one of the top 3 foundations in the world as rated by Charity Navigator. You can be assured that when you give your charitable contributions to the foundation, that they are well taken care of. You know, you give a lot of money to be in the Rotary Club. You've got your dues, your meal fees, your voluntary contributions to the Rotary Foundation. So we need to think about where your money goes. First of all, your dues go to support the operation of Rotary International. Your dues support the operations in Evanston. They support the salaries. They support many of the documentation. And that's how Rotary continues to operate. Your contributions to the Rotary Foundation, however, are separate from the dues and other sources of operating revenue. They support the charitable arm of the Rotary organization. And there are 3 fundamental funds. There's the annual fund, the endowment fund, and the Polio Plus fund. Very quickly, the annual fund is sort of like the savings account for the Rotary Foundation. The endowment fund, that's made up of wills and benefactors who give their long-term investments to help support Rotary works. Polio Plus, of course, is the signature operation of Rotary now, and we have to finish polio. You know, we only lack about $1.5 billion to help to finalize the eradication of polio. At the 2017 Atlanta Foundation, there was $1.2 billion pledged by various countries and organizations led by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Part of that $1.5 billion, 10% is going to come from Rotarians and their $150 million pledge, which we matched 2-for-1 by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. But the annual fund is the one that supports your district grants. It is the source for Rotary grants and projects made up of voluntary tax-deductible contributions that also count toward Rotarians' donor recognition. Contributions to the annual fund allow your club to support local projects and international projects all through the Rotary Grant Program. Your annual fund gift is invested for 3 years, and then it is returned to the Rotary Grants system. The share system transforms your annual fund gift into district grants, global grants, peace scholarships, Rotary Peace Centers, Polio Plus contributions, as well as other worthwhile projects and special grant opportunities. The 3-year investment earnings support the Rotary Foundation's administration and fund development. And this somewhat complicated picture shows you what your gift does over the 3-year time frame. Let's say you gave that $100 3 years ago. Now, 3 years later, that $100 is divided into two parts. Half of it goes directly to the World Fund. Another half goes directly to your district in what is called district designated funds. The district designated funds are further split into two halves. $25 of that 100 goes to the district's global grant fund, and $25 goes to the district grants fund, and this is the area where your club can draw funds to support your own local projects. Any leftover funds can also be sent to Polio Plus, the Rotary Peace Centers, and other things. Now, there's some very complicated and interesting things, but did you know that if you gave your $25 to support an international grant, the district would match that, and Rotary would match that 1-for-1. So you could actually result in giving $75 towards a particular international global grant. This is a little bit tricky, so get in touch with your district's global grants, international grants, and grants chair, and they can help you understand this. But we really want you to know about the district grant, the funds that can go to your club, your so-called return on investment from this $100, this $25 that you have available becomes your return on investment. So, the annual fund supports two major types of Rotary grants. That's the global grants and the district grants. Both support humanitarian needs, things like scholarships or vocational training teams. Global grants are fairly constrained in what you can do with them. They must fall within and support one of Rotary's 6 areas of focus, and we'll look at those in just a moment. District grants must only support, in general terms, the mission of Rotary. The areas of focus are listed here. Peace and conflict resolution? Sure. Disease prevention, and that's part of what we're doing with malaria initiatives and Polio Plus initiatives. Water and sanitation, drilling water wells, or improving sanitation practices and capabilities and infrastructure in a place that is really behind in this element. Maternal and child health, setting up of clinics in areas where clinics don't exist. Education, literacy, and of course, anything involving economic and community development. These are the areas of focus. And in a broader sense, the Rotary mission statement sort of encompasses all of those, but gives you a little more latitude for your club's use of the district grant. The mission of Rotary International is to provide service to others, promote integrity, advance world understanding, goodwill, and peace through its fellowship of business, professional, and community leaders. This, folks, is you, the Rotarians. Now, how can you contribute to the Rotary Foundation and contribute to the annual fund so that you can boost your club's effectiveness? Many ways to contribute. First, we can do individual contributions. Most typical way is to send a check to the Rotary Foundation using, of course, the Rotary donor form, so you get Paul Harris Fellowship credit. You want to make sure you get that credit. And also that your contribution gets tallied up to your club and to the district. That's how we get that money back in 3 years, is that we identify that it comes from you who belong to a Rotary Club, and the Rotary Club is part of the district. You can go online and contribute at Rotary.org. I'll show you a button on how you do that here in just a little bit. Or you can set something else up called Rotary Direct. Rotary Direct gives you the option to make regular, recurring, or even a one-time contribution using a credit card. And that's a pretty effective way. In fact, Rotary International Foundation people tell me that they really like the credit card contributions. They're clean, they're easy, and they do have a very favorable credit card service rate from the credit card companies. Your club can make contributions using the multi-donor form, and that's available in Rotary Club Central. It's a form that allows you to identify the various members of your club who are contributing, the amounts they're contributing, and then using a single contribution from the club based on the collection of funds from members, they can make a single contribution. Every individual on the multi-donor form will get their Paul Harris credit. You, of course, as a club, can do fundraising projects and make a large contribution just based on the club. And then, once again, your club will get credit for that to the Rotary Foundation, and it will improve your share fund amount in 3 years. Most typically, though, many of you use your district's fundraising project. Typically, in District 5730, the fundraising project is a travel voucher where you sell tickets and we select a winner. We sell the tickets for $10. If you sell or purchase your own tickets, that's $100. That has a benefit for you, and your club can put you onto the multi-donor form with your $100 contribution. You get 10 tickets into the draw, and there you go. Now, if you've made some other contributions, the instructions of our travel raffle will give you the information on how to get extra tickets and extra chances based on those other contributions. Keep an eye out for that. That usually will get distributed late in the fall or early spring, so that we can have that competition decided at the district conference. There are various recognitions available based on contributions to the Rotary Foundation. We would love everybody to be a 100% foundation giving club. That's $100 per capita, every member giving at least $25 to either the annual fund, the Polio Plus Fund, approved global grants, or the endowment fund. You could become a 100% Paul Harris Fellow. That's at some point in time, all members are Paul Harris Fellows. And your foundation chair can give you some good hints on how to make that happen, like the using of recognition points to help someone reach that first initial threshold. That's a worthy goal, 100% Paul Harris Club. You could become an Every Rotarian Every Year Club, slightly different than the Foundation Giving Club because it includes $100 per capita to the annual fund, with every member giving at least $25 to the annual fund. We do recognize the top 3 per capita clubs in the district. We recognize 100% Paul Harris Society Club attainment, and Arts Clump Society is also highly recognized. Arts Clump, as you know, was the founder of the Rotary Foundation. He did that at the 1917 Rotary Convention that was held in Atlanta. That was 100 years ago. And his donation of leftover funds from the convention started our foundation, which today has assets of about $1 billion. So let's take a moment and think about this 100% Paul Harris Society Club. What does it take to be a member of the Paul Harris Society? Well, quite simply, you, the Rotarian, agree to give $1,000 per year to to the Rotary Foundation. And on obtaining a $1,000 contribution for the year, you can identify yourself as Paul Harris Society eligible. We'll fill out a little form and get you identified as Paul Harris Society member. And we hope that you can really consider that. That's about $85 a month if you set it up through Rotary Direct, $85 per month. We do have another project funding option, and that's our own district foundation. For example, if you have a local project that may be a little bit bigger than your club can take on, but you think you can garner some community support, we can set up an account in our District 5730 Foundation where you can accumulate the funds necessary to accomplish your local project. Of course, you don't get Paul Harris credit, but it is tax deductible. It is a 501c3, and those designated funds can be used for your designated project. Again, contact the District Foundation Chair for more information on that option. So how do you get your grant funds? The global and district grants. That's what we're going to look at for the next several slides. You have to ask, are you going to keep this local or do you want to go global? What are some of the possible projects in your town? What could their impact be? What are the needs in your community? And again, we look at what are the needs in other areas of the world that you may travel or may have contacts. We want to do the humanitarian service throughout the world, but that includes our own local communities. Global grants are predominantly long-term projects. They're managed by the Rotary Foundation through the World Fund Match. They must be sustainable, accountability is essential, and the project must have measurable steps along the way, milestones that can measure its progress. Minimum project size is $30,000. So for $30,000, you can imagine you can do something substantial. They can have a multi-year implementation, can run over several years. They don't have to be finished within the short time frame of a district grant. The key feature, they establish a partnership between two or more clubs and or districts. And Rotary matches district funds dollar for dollar. A global grant is a rather complex creature. It is a real grant process that many of you are familiar with in other areas, complete with detailed budgets, detailed plans of action, identification of resources, identification of partners, and so forth. So it has to have this comprehensive proposal to include a budget, measurement of results, sustainability, how conflicts of interest are addressed, and remember, 75% of every contribution made to the Rotary Foundation Annual Fund is available to use on global projects. The application is available at rotary.org. And here's where you'll find it. Rotary.org grants module. Go into rotary.org, click on My Rotary, and then in the Take Action tab, come over to Apply for Grants. And here's where you get into the process. All sorts of information is available here, and our district grant team will help you if you want to get involved in an international grant. Oh, I had mentioned earlier about how you might be able to make a contribution through My Rotary. There's one. Click the red Give button now, or up here, click Give. You'll be directed to a page that allows you, if you've logged into your Rotary account, gives you the opportunity to contribute to the annual fund, Polio Plus Fund, or other funds that are established and designated. Global grants are possible. We have several in our own district, including an outdoor education center in Lubbock. library renovation in an inner city. And internationally, we have worked with a goat and nutrition project in Malawi, a hepatology center in Monterrey, Mexico, and a dental clinic in Santiago, Dominican Republic. If you're interested in what kind of grants may be available, take a look at matchinggrants.org/global. You'll find a wealth of information on grants, how grants are structured, and a review of some of these grants may give you some ideas on how you could create your own international grants. Next, district grants, what they are, how to get them. Your share is 25% of what your club and its members contributed 3 years ago. So in year 2014-15, your club gave $4,000 to the annual fund. 3 years later, 27 to 18, you get $1,000 available to your club in the form of a district grant to help towards your project. Be sure to check out the district grant guidelines under the Foundation tab on the District 5730 webpage. That's Rotary5730.org. The district grant is an outright grant. No club matching is required. If you have $1,000 available and you have a $1,000 project, the grant can cover the entire amount. Short-term impact is fine. Rotarian involvement, however, is important. One thing you want to avoid is a kind of grant which is nothing more than a pass-through of funds. In fact, district grants cannot be used for just a pass-through of funds. You actually have to have that Rotarian involvement. So here are some steps for district grant funding. Step 1, get one or more members qualified. Viewing this video or attending a district grant management seminar and submitting the Memorandum of Understanding to the District Grants Compliance and Stewardship Chair qualifies your club. You notify the Grants Compliance and Stewardship Chair, who's Brenda DeBonds, of which club members viewed the video. They will then be the eligible points of contact. Send Brenda by email or fax the signed Memorandum of Understanding. Her contact information is at the end of this video. Step 2, identify your project and develop a budget. Pretty simple, straightforward. And finally, step 3, the next few slides, we're going to look at how to apply, what to find, what to click, and then how to report completion of your grants. Be sure to see the instructions on how to apply for grants in the Foundation tab of the district website, because that's where you'll be able to figure out how to get into the member area and then proceed with the grant application. Well, once you get into the member area of the Club Runner site, this is what you'll see. This is an actual page. You'll see the grants tab there. Click that and then submit a grant request. Pretty simple. Next step, you fill in your grant information. Give it a name. Identify the year and the sponsoring club. And then this little drop-down menu will then identify those individuals who have been qualified for grants. They have attended the seminar or viewed this video, and your club has submitted the MOU. They will be listed here. Select the key person for the project in question. Identify your country, your state, your zip code, and your city. And then finally, give a short description of the grant. And then, final thing is the estimated budget. That can be the cost for the whole grant. You'll be eligible for district grant up to the amount of your eligible funds determined by your contributions 3 years ago. The next final thing you want to make sure you do, submit that grant. And The District Grants Committee will then look it over and will announce the approval of your grant in short order. Usually takes only a few days for them to take a look at it, verify that all is in order, and then send you acknowledgement. Now, a couple of important things about these district grant guidelines. Be sure you check them in the Foundation tab of the district website. And do not begin your project until your grant application is approved. Expenses incurred before approval cannot be reimbursed. Find another club to partner with if you have a larger project and need more impact. District grant funds cannot be used for fundraising activities or any direct fund pass-through to a recipient, such as gift cards. Use your share funds for up to 3 projects. Keep in mind that if you're going to go multiple projects, we'd like to keep at least $500 for each project so that it has a maximum impact. The grant application and memorandum of understanding submission deadline is August 31st. August 31st. So, you can't be qualified until you've seen the video, informed the district grant chair that you've seen the video, or were in attendance at one of the district grant management seminars, and submit the memorandum of understanding signed by your club president and the president-elect or some other officer of the club who will take on the role for grants of the backup administrator of the president. So next, do your project. Have a great time doing that, but you have to report completion. The completion report deadline is April 30th. That is a very important deadline. We have to have your reports by April 30th. That's so we can collect unused funds and use them for additional projects in the remaining 2 months of the Rotary year. At the end of the Rotary year, the grant funds don't necessarily go away, but their accessibility is greatly reduced. So, again, completion report, go to the online grants module. Same place where you went for the application. Select your grant, update the status, submit the basic documentation, which includes receipts to cover the grant amount. If you have a $2,000 project but only have a $1,000 grant, we only need receipts for that $1,000. Answer the 6 questions that are in the completion report. Basically, the 6 questions involve who was impacted, who participated, and things like that. You'll see them. They're pretty straightforward. Short answers are fine. And then submit that report. As soon as all this is done, your reimbursement check will be on the way. So in summary, qualify your club. Get them qualified. Sign the MOU, and then apply for your share of grant funds through the district grants module. Then, do the project, but keep in mind these important deadlines. Grant application and MOU, August 31st. Grant completion report, April 30th. Be sure you report completion and then enjoy your return on investment. You'll get the reimbursement check, but most importantly, you'll have the satisfaction of doing something good for humanity in your community. If you have any questions, be sure to contact a member of our District 5730 Foundation Committee. Their emails are listed here for the current group. Email them. Brenda DeBonds, email her with your notification of who took the grant training and your memorandum of understanding. You'll be notified of your qualification, and then you can get your district grant going. If you have a question on global grants, Rich Rice knows all about it, and past District Governor Susan Brents is a bona fide expert in the global grant process and can help you find your way through the maze of global grant applications. Thank you, and good luck with your district grants.